major news coming out of a major city after promising to bring safety back to Boston. Border czar Tom Homan is already seeing results. Homan announcing that 370 illegal immigrants were recently arrested, with a majority of them being, quote, significant criminals with charges including murder, drug trafficking, and child sex crimes. Homan writing in a lengthy X post, "I made a promise at CPAC that I was going to Boston after reading about numerous illegal alien child rapists walking the streets of Boston and Massachusetts. ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because Massachusetts and Boston are sanctuaries that refuse to cooperate with ICE. They would rather release these animals back into their community rather than honor ICE detainers or notify ICE when they are scheduled to be released." Mayor Wu later testified that I was lying. Thomas Hodgson is the former sheriff of Bristol County, Massachusetts, and he joins me now. Sheriff, good morning to you. What is it like being a sheriff, a former sheriff, in a state that allows this to happen?
Well, good morning, Carly, and thank you for having me. It makes it more difficult, obviously. In my case, I'm a Republican who served 25 and a half years, and I had an immigration detention facility for that entire 25 was housing for them for an entire 25 and a half years. I built a facility and had one of the largest in the country with regards to holding detainees at about an average of 225 a day. But that didn't mean that I wasn't going to be getting a lot of flack, which I did, from the dominant Democrat legislature, the current governor, and the former governor as well, Deval Patrick, trying to undermine my abilities to keep my community safe and uphold my oath. It's particularly difficult for any sheriff in Massachusetts that wants to do that, although I'll give credit to the Plymouth County sheriff, who is now housing detainees there and doing a good job with it. He's full speed ahead.
Yeah, well, so some people are trying to find workarounds to this, but to your point, just take a look at the people that the state of Massachusetts, the city of Boston, have allowed back onto the streets. A Guatemalan charged with 3 counts of aggravated child rape, released on $7,500 bail. Another Guatemalan charged with aggravated child rape of a victim aged 9 or younger, released on $7,500 bail. A Honduran charged with assault to rape, masked armed robbery, released on his own recognizance, 0 bail, and the list goes on and on. You know, Sheriff, I'm sure that even these criminals are thinking, wow, I'm getting off easy. I'm lucky here. Is there something that we're missing here as to why this is happening? What is your reaction to that list that I just read?
Well, that's exactly what Tom Homan's been talking about, and that's what all of us in law enforcement have understood. But not these politicians like Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston, who frankly is more interested in her personal benefits than she is in her public service. Look, she was elected like the rest of us and took an oath to uphold the rule of law. And what they're doing is she's creating this cover for criminals to come here, illegal aliens to come here and know that they're going to have a less likely chance of being identified. And it isn't just about Boston's crime. What about all the neighboring communities? They're going to lay low in Boston because they're going to get the cover they need, but then they go to these neighboring communities and commit more crimes.
Yeah, that's a great point. It just doesn't stay in the city. It also spills out to other areas as well. So if you remember a couple weeks ago, Mayor Michelle Wu, she was up on Capitol Hill testifying about sanctuary cities. She was asked a very pointed question about illegal immigrant rapists and whether or not her city allows them back out onto the streets, and she denied it. Listen.
When an illegal alien rapes a woman, do you believe you're on the right side of history? Mayor Wu, yes or no?
No, rape is obviously horrible.
Why are you letting rapists back out onto the streets of Boston?
That is not true. That is not what's happening in Boston.
And yesterday, Governor Maura Healey put out a statement saying Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state. So how do you respond to that?
Look, Governor Healey has been a long-standing advocate going back to the days of her being attorney general. She filed more lawsuits against Donald Trump than any other attorney general in the country. She was on the other side of the Mexican border when she was attorney general, saying that the United States was wrong for not allowing illegals to come into our country without going through the proper process. And this is a governor who has been a pro-woke, left-wing supporter of illegal immigrants. And you know what? The people of Massachusetts are getting fed up with it. And they're tired of her looking beyond their public safety, the safety of their communities and saying my political agenda is more important than you, the people that I swore I would protect. And that's the problem we have in Massachusetts.
Yeah, if your number one job is to protect people as an elected official, letting the people out that I just listed, child rapist on low or no bond, certainly does not fit that directive. Tom Homan is going to be on Fox and Friends this morning with more on the migrant crackdown.
Thanks.
Sheriff Hodgson, final words to you real quick.
Just quickly, that also has to do with liberal judges that we have in the Massachusetts that sort of jump into this ideology.
Yeah, it's a topic of conversation very much on the minds of many right now, especially in the Trump administration. Sheriff, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Meanwhile, Tom Homan is not slowing down at all. I could not believe this number. He said this, majority of the 370 being significant criminals. He's talking about what happened over in Massachusetts. These arrests include 8 foreign fugitives, including 4 who are wanted for murder or to serve on a criminal sentence for murder, along with drug traffickers, child sexual predators, and numerous other violent public safety threats. So this was a collection of illegals, lethal illegals, over in Massachusetts. I was encouraged to see the governor saying we're not a sanctuary state. Right. You know, it's Boston, it's a sanctuary city, but we're not a sanctuary state. They were proud of the way they work with us.
The administration changed up the strategy a little bit when it came down to this bus. Remember, in Boston, the mayor provoked Tom Homan. She's essentially said, you're not welcome in the city. What the administration tried to do to begin with was to have media along on these ride-alongs to show the public what was going on. Well, leaks started to happen. So Tom Homan put a complete blackout on this, and he didn't even release this until days later. But this is what they found when they were in Boston right there. You got a Dominican alien charged and arrested with multiple drug distribution crimes and fentanyl trafficking, a Brazilian alien charged with manslaughter, DUI, homicide, breaking and entering and larceny. You got a Honduran alien convicted of child rape and assault. You got a Brazilian alien wanted for murder. You got a homicide. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And good on Tom Homan. He captured the people, kept his officers safe, and there was no leaks on this bus.
Well, and he had said ahead of time, I'm going to bring hell to Boston. And he did indeed with this sweep, and it was coordinated, and it was very precise, and they were all armored up just in case, because a bunch of them undoubtedly had guns, were armed. It was the FBI, it was ATF, it was a CBP, and the DEA. And they did wind up, of that big number that we told you about, 370, that is to say, 200 had significant criminal convictions. And they did release details about those 14 Lawrence, that you were talking about, but there are no names associated with these criminals and no word where they are being held. And so those are the two things. And, you know, given the fact that we were talking a little bit ago about the Venezuelans, where are those people being housed? Now people are wondering, okay, they round them up. Then where do they put them?
You know, a note about Mayor Michelle Wu. She gave her State of the City address, and at the very end of it, she said, God bless our people. God save whoever messes with Boston. Well, the people who are messing with Boston are who Lawrence just scrolled. Tom Homan said he found 9 examples of rapists who were in jail, who were let out before they could be taken by ICE. So who's messing with your city are these individuals. And Mayor Wu, I mean, look, I've got to believe there's some political calculation here, because just a reminder, she has a challenge coming up. It's from Josh Kraft, you know, the son of the famous baseball owner. And maybe she thinks this is what Boston wants. I have a different calculation. I guess Tom Homan can address that at 7:20 a.m. here on the show.
I have a question before we move on. When it comes to due process for the 370 and the 269 that were flied over, they scoop them up, they do their background, ICE takes them down, they scoop them up. What role, they're not citizens. What is due process for an illegal alien accused criminal?
Well, you are entitled to a court hearing. Right. However, if you have the Alien Enemies Act, you are allowed to go over that because it's considered a wartime act. And President Trump, the argument is there's an invasion. One of the arguments is Trinidad Aragua wants to establish territorial integrity in the country. Therefore, we're exempt from providing that due process. It's a colorful argument, has only been used 3 times, but maybe it will be used here.
And that is why it's in court right now.
Exactly.
And that's why everybody's looking at it. And we will keep you posted. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.